Howdy folks, and welcome to the Daily Coin. My name is Rory, and today is Wednesday, February the 22nd, 2017, and it is my great honor to welcome back to the show the president of First Mining Finance, Mr. Patrick Donnelly, and you can find First Mining Finance listed on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol FF.V, and you can find them on the Frankfurt stock exchange under the symbol FFMGF. Patrick, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back, Rory.
The first question that I want to ask you about is, what is First Mining Finance's greatest asset, and why would you say that?
Oh, that's a really good question, because we have a number of high quality assets, but if I were to name one, I would probably say it would be our Springpole project, which is located in Northern Ontario. And why we like Springpole a lot is simply, it's one of the largest gold deposits in North America. It hosts, 5.5 million ounces of gold. Most of that's an indicated category. It already has an economic study done on it that was completed in 2013, and it was positive. Matter of fact, the project would likely make money at current metal prices. And so we feel it's probably our most advanced project. It's the largest project. And we, on I think February 6th, I think it was, we put out a press release on on some assay results we did a metallurgical drilling program last fall, and we also assayed the core. And it just confirmed, the previous drilling where we were pulling out, 300-meter holes of over a gram of gold.
Wow.
And so, and the market seemed to like it. And I think it just reconfirmed that this is a very large, high quality asset. And we're redoing the economic study, and hopefully we'll have some news on that in the middle of the year.
That sounds great. It sounds like a really super high quality asset that you guys have there. And I want to ask you about Alan Greenspan. I'm sure that you have read about Alan Greenspan coming out, making another case for returning to the gold standard. And
yes.
I don't think that the fiat currency manipulators would allow it to happen. That's just that's my personal opinion. And what are your thoughts about returning to a gold standard?
Well, I think we're headed in that direction. I mean, we're seeing so much manipulation, in the U.S. dollar. You see the Fed, playing around with interest rates and getting away from what the true intrinsic value is of the dollar. And not only the U.S. dollar, other currencies, the Chinese are notorious for manipulating their currency, and the euro, nobody trusts the euro anymore with all the noise going on in Europe. And, we've seen a number of scandals with manipulation of foreign exchange rates. So how do we protect our currency, right, from these people? And I think, the traditional way is to link it to gold. So I'm fully in favor of that, because there's so many shenanigans going on, especially now with all the technology that's out there with, digital systems and algorithms. And there's so many ways to manipulate currencies, and be very difficult to uncover these. So absolutely, I think we need to peg gold, peg the dollar to gold and other currencies, so that we're not being duped by all these manipulators.
Exactly, and duped we are being. That's for sure. And would you see silver playing a role in a gold standard as well, like what we had before? I mean, silver's been money.
I wouldn't see why not. I mean, historically, silver has also been used as a currency. I wouldn't say, and there's the historical connection between gold and silver, and the fact that silver's been used as a currency. I wouldn't, why not? So, and silver is also a fantastic store of value, and And so, yeah, I think if you're going to use gold, why wouldn't you use silver as well? And going forward to protect your wealth.
Yeah, because they're stealing it at every turn. I mean, it's just gotten to the point to where every single day it seems like there's a new story where a piece of our wealth has been hijacked, and this is to say nothing of the deficit spending that the U.S. federal government does every single day, every moment of every day. So, and that's nothing more than a wealth transfer. The Federal Reserve System is nothing more than a mechanism for a transfer of wealth. So, in my
Yeah,
opinion, getting back to a gold standard with silver as money as well, because silver's been money longer than gold, I think
sure.
is the only way that we can protect ourselves. And as far as economically, I mean, do you think that
Yeah,
there would, go ahead?
yeah, and I totally agree with that. And for the problem is, governments like to take these shortcuts. Europeans are doing it, and the Japanese and the U.S. are doing it, taking these shortcuts where, their central banks are manipulating interest rates to prop up their currencies and or devalue the currencies. When what's really needed is whole scale structural changes. For example, revamping things such as regulations or taxes or those sorts of things. And I liken, the Federal Reserve and all these groups to, like, you lose your arm, your arm or your hand gets cut off, and instead of doing surgery to reattach it or fix it, they're giving you heroin, and so, yeah, you don't, your arm is still missing, but at least you're not feeling the pain. And I think that's exactly what these Federal Reserves are doing. These central banks are, simply just sticking morphine into the economy so you don't feel the pain. But when you look under the surface, you're still missing an arm or a leg because the government hasn't had the courage or the foresight to enact appropriate structural changes that would result in long-term growth in the economy and stability in the currencies.
But if you listen to the mainstream media, everything's great. I mean, it's nothing but rainbows and unicorns as far as the eye can see. You know, housing
Yeah.
market is up. Everybody's making money. Everybody's employed. Is that not true?
Well, just have to look at below the surface. I mean, look at student loan debt is greater than credit card debt in the U.S. and it's
Yep.
at a historical level. You look at the state of Illinois with the unfunded pension liabilities and how high that is. That's in the billions of dollars, and they're never going to meet their obligations. And you look at Europe and the United States, which their federal debt levels. You look at Italy, France, Spain. You look what happened with Greece. Everyone's freaking out
Yep.
about Greece, and Greece is just a drop in the bucket. If France has been racking up their debt for years, and the government there is gutless. They've never made any structural changes. There's always the same clowns that are in government there, and they're having another election now. I don't. If you look at any of the leaders who are running the French election, they're all a bunch of clowns. So it's systemic. Japan has a huge amount of debt, and yet it's going to get worse because its population is aging, and so the government's going to be under a lot more duress to support its aging population, yet has no young people. So everything is everything is starting to come to the surface now, and that's going to catch up. That's going to catch up with all of us, and therefore it's going to have a huge effect on your wealth and huge effect on currencies, and so we need to find lifeboats,
Yep.
and the best lifeboat out there is gold and silver.
Yep. And speaking of lifeboats, outside of the precious metal space, Pat, with physical gold and silver along with the mining stocks, I mean, what do people need to know about protecting their wealth? Or what are you doing in this time of what you just described? I mean, that's just great turmoil. I mean, what are you doing to protect your family's wealth? I mean, if you don't mind giving us a little insight.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I invest. Obviously, I'm an investor in my own company, First Mining Finance. I do buy a lot of silver personally, a lot of physical silver. My wife loves silver, so she keeps telling me, if you ever see silver, buy it, and I'm like, no problem. So, I'm frequently down in Mexico, and I'm always scooping up lots of silver. So, yeah, I'm investing in gold and silver stocks, physical silver, those sorts of things, and just to protect myself. I think you gotta, in times like this, you gotta go back to the old-fashioned ways, and the old-fashioned ways are physical gold and gold equities that are torqued, that have great leverage to precious metals. And First Mining Finance, my company, is highly torqued. Our
Yep.
I think our correlation to gold is well over zero point 0.9. So that's how I protect my wealth, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing this.
And makes perfect sense to me. And where does First Mining Finance sit at this point? I know you all have entered into at least one venture with Silver One. Are there
Yes.
other opportunities First Mining is pursuing at this point? And would you mind, Pat,
Sure.
just giving us a quick update?
Yeah, I mean, so there's been a number of changes in the markets since last summer. As you're well aware, Rory, we were on this aggressive acquisition mode where we did 8 transactions in a period of just over a year, and now we have 7 million ounces of measured indicated gold and 5 million ounces of inferred gold. We want to get to 20 million ounces total. Obviously, since last summer, we've seen valuations go up. We've seen liquidity come back into the market, and we've seen capital come back into the market with respect to gold mining equities. So it's gotten much harder to do deals. We did raise $27 million Canadian last summer, and so we've transitioned a little bit. We're now, it's getting harder to do deals. So, but what we are seeing is that the markets are rewarding companies for putting money back into the ground. So, we've approved a $10 million budget for 2017 for exploration and development. So we're going to advance some of our assets. We're not going to put them in production, but we will advance them through drilling, economic studies, resource estimates, and show the market exactly what we have. And I remember when we first spoke, I don't know how long ago it was, Rory, it was a while ago. One of my mottos was that it was cheaper to buy ounces than to drill for ounces. And I think now we're in an environment now where it's actually cheaper to drill for ounces than to buy ounces. So, we're gonna enhance our assets. We're gonna de-risk them. We're gonna move them forward. Long term, the goal is, we did this deal with Silver One as a one-off, but down the road when we see when we're further along in the gold cycle and we see valuations increase, then we'll do other similar deals like we do with Silver One, where we would do deals with other parties, other mining companies, other groups. They put the assets in the production, and we hold on to residual interest, so in the form of royalties, streams, joint ventures, what have you. But at this point, we want to show the market what we have. We want to enhance these assets. We want to add value. In terms of acquisitions, would we like to do more deals? Absolutely. But we're pretty disciplined. We're not going to overpay. Valuations are much higher now than they were, 7 or 8 months ago. But we like to get the 20 million ounces, but only if, the right deal comes along. So we're not going to overpay. We're not going to, undermine, our shareholders, and we're going to remain disciplined. So that's kind of the strategy we have at this point.
Well, I like it, and I've always been a huge fan of the business model that is First Mining Finance, and the fact that you're taking another step as far as developing the mines out just to the next level, if you will, so that you can actually show people, say, hey, this is what we have just pulled out of the ground. Here's a 43101 for you to take a look at. There it is. We told you that's what was there. Now we can show you that it's there. And I would think that would take the company right up to the next level. So I love it. I think it's really cool. And some of these topics that I'm about to list, you just fired on, but
Sure.
infrastructure spending, Fed fund interest rate hikes, strong dollar, weak dollar, geopolitical issues all across the globe. China is a currency manipulator. The list just goes on and on, Pat.
Sure.
I mean, none of these issues have a quick fix, so we will be living with them for the next little while. On the flip side of all of this, and you mentioned this also, we have the criminal COMEX and LBMA rigged precious metals market, apparently keeping the price of gold and silver in check. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they're doing. I mean, they're not
Yeah,
allowing
I agree.
either to run their natural course. I mean, what impact over the next few years as our world continues down this path of self-destruction?
Well, I mean, in China, people, China's got its own significant issues, and you're seeing that because there's so much capital flight happening out of that country, and now the government there is enacting even stricter capital controls on the Chinese currency. So, you're seeing a lot more demand in China for gold because people in China are very, very concerned about what's going on there. The Chinese economy has been slowing down for a little while, and people are worried that that there could be some significant tremors or earthquakes coming down the road in that country with regards to their debt situation and to slow down the economy. So there's already huge demand for gold in China, and I expect that to continue to increase, and specifically physical gold, and which reminds me, the other thing that people don't realize is that miners, mining companies are not produce. They're running out of gold,
Yep.
physical gold in terms of reserves and resources, and we're starting to see that come along. There hasn't been any major discoveries in a number of years now, and mining companies until recently were trying to stay alive and keep their heads above water, and so they weren't reinvesting in their assets or acquiring new assets or doing exploration. So we're going to see a crunch, and meanwhile, demand is, like you said, demand is going to continue to increase from China. I was just in Europe a few weeks ago in Eastern Europe and doing marketing, and I never thought I'd ever be marketing, in Eastern Europe. I met a number of large funds in Eastern Europe, government funds in Eastern Europe, and they're terrified. They're absolutely terrified of what's going on there. They think Europe is a basket case, and they're getting ready for it, and they're loading up on gold and gold equities. And I was really taken aback how concerned they are. And they're not even thinking about the United States. They're not even thinking about China. They're thinking about what's going on in the euro and what's going on in France and Italy and Spain and all these other countries. And if we see if we see Marine Le Pen get in France and she decides to leave the euro, look out. You think things are scary right now in the euro. If France decides to leave, then and it isolates itself. We're going to see some major, it's going to create a lot of turmoil, and that's going to be very good for gold. So, the Eastern Europeans, these are sophisticated people. These are people, these people running these funds in Eastern Europe. A lot of them are U.S. educated. They went to good schools in the U.S. Like, they went to the best MBA schools and business schools in the United States, and they're very smart people, and they're getting ready. They're battening down the hatches to protect, the wealth of their workers in Eastern Europe. So it's a theme that I'm running across where I travel a lot. I go all over the world, and it's a theme that I keep coming across wherever I go.
Just not here. Just not in the so-called developed world. It's more so in countries that have an appreciation and respect and understanding of gold and gold as money and silver as money. They understand this. It's been part of their culture for hundreds of years.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Yeah, you're absolutely bang on. Absolutely.
Well, and the brainwashing that we've experienced in regards to, these dollars or these Canadian dollars or these euros, these are These are wonderful. These work. They work beautifully. Yeah, they work beautifully for the criminals that are stealing our wealth, but not so much for the citizens. And that's the one of the main differences is that the people, like you said, in Eastern Europe and in Asia, they understand this. They understand that they have to have gold in order to protect themselves from
Hmm.
the government theft. They know that. I
Hmm.
mean, look at what
Hmm.
happened in India. When Modi woke up one morning and had this great idea that he would get rid of the 500 and 1,000 rupee. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, hello, that's 86% of their currency. So
Yeah.
now everybody's without currency. And speaking of which, this is the last question, Pat, and then I'll let you get back to your
Sure.
morning. Cashless society seems to be on a steady course to fruition. What are your thoughts on the cryptocurrencies? And as an aside, how would a cashless society impact gold and silver?
Well, we go to a cashless society. It's a way for the government to steal wealth from the individuals, right? They want to
Yep.
be able to track every single little thing that you own, so they can tax it, so they can keep fueling their spending sprees. Um, you're moving down that road. How do regular people protect themselves? How to protect their wealth? And again, it's going into the physical assets, right? It's going into physical gold, ETFs, gold equities, that sort of thing. So it's like Big Brother. It's
Yep.
like with in the book 1984, George Orwell, where the government is trying to control everything and move us into a cashless society so they can know every single thing that we do. And it's frightening. It's highly frightening that we're heading that direction. And that's why we're seeing government trying to manipulate gold and try to control it because they see it as a rival to their currencies. But if the whole world is moving towards gold, then the government's going to be very difficult for the governments to continue to manipulate it. Eventually, it's going to come to a head. So, that's a very frightening proposition that we're moving towards this where. Everything is done electronically, and the government's going to have more control over people's wallets, and not only that, their privacy and their lives. And
Yep.
and people have to think about how to protect themselves by having physical assets.
Yes. I mean, privacy would be completely eviscerated, and any thought of a sovereign individual gone out the window completely.
Absolutely,
You have
absolutely.
no rights. And from my perspective, the cashless society is directly tied to the so-called negative interest rate policy, or NERP, because if they force, like what they're trying to do in India, force everybody into the banking system,
Yeah.
and there is no physical cash, it's all digital, then they can say, well, we're going to now implement a 0.5% tax. We'll call it a fee, but it's really a tax on any amount of money that you have on a monthly
Hmm.
basis in your account. And then they
Sure.
just steadily increase, steadily increase. It goes from a half to
Sure.
3/4 to 1 to 1 1/4, whatever they want to do. And once
Yep.
again, like you said, privacy completely gone. You know, it's the whole thing is disgusting. I mean, do you think that gold and silver would flourish in that environment? I mean,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, how do you step out? How do you isolate yourself or step out of that system and protect your wealth? And that's by going into the hard assets. The old, the traditional way of protecting your wealth. You mentioned the Europeans. The Europeans. I go to, like I said, I go to Germany and Switzerland and Eastern Europe a lot, and historic. They've gone through a couple thousand years of a lot of turmoil. And how do they protect themselves? By having physical gold to protect themselves. and so that, to protect your own wealth from these governments who are going rogue, you got to have physical gold or gold equities or ETFs or other ways to have exposure to gold and silver and precious metals, and because otherwise you're going to get sucked up into the system, and the government's just, as you mentioned, the government's just going to continue to erode your wealth. So I think, yeah, I think we're going into a new golden age for gold, pardon the pun. Given that, people are going to be, people in Asia and Europe and other places are going to want to protect their wealth, and there's not too many avenues to do that. And the one way you can, though, is by putting your money into gold.
Couldn't agree more. Transfer every fiat piece of fiat currency you have as much as you can, as quick as you can, into a physical asset like gold, silver, diamonds, those types of things.
Absolutely.
I love it. Well, Pat, I certainly appreciate all your time this morning, and we've been speaking with the president of First Mining Finance, Mr. Patrick Donnelly. Pat, if you don't mind, tell them how they can get in touch with you. Maybe if somebody's got a question or two for you.
Sure. Yeah, they can. Our website is www.firstminingfinance.com, or they can email me directly. I like talking to our shareholders and potential shareholders, so they can email me at patrick@firstminingfinance.com.
Sounds great, and I'll put that information in the description below the video.
Sure.
And Pat, I certainly appreciate it, and I look forward to speaking with you in the not too distant future.
Well, again, it's good talking again, Rory, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to tell our story.
Thank you.
Okay.